Good news can often get overlooked or buried by the negative in our everyday lives. So let's change that. I'm Adriana.
And I'm Wyatt.
We're just two ordinary people without any special qualifications or anything, trying to navigate life. We invite you to join us as we share wholesome stories, news articles of hope, and ideas about how we can all make the world just a little bit brighter. We are Uplifting Positive Stories. Welcome back to another episode of Uplifting Positive Stories. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Welcome to another episode where hopefully we'll have stories that uplift and bring some positivity.
Yeah, this one is all about being authentically yourself, which I think is super, super, super important. And something that sometimes we forget, is really to just be yourself and not be so worried about what other people are going to think and what other people might judge you for. Because at the end of the day, people that really want to be there for you and that really love you for you are going to love you no matter what. Even if you have an interest that they don't have an interest in, or if maybe that you're being a little goofy or weird. It's just important for us to remember that it's okay to be authentically ourselves, even if it's very, very difficult sometimes. And so these are some examples of that and some reminders of that through some really positive stories. So we're going to dive right in with our first one. This one comes from BOR Updates, so Best of Redditor Updates. It was originally posted in Tales from Retail, and it is titled, OOP has visits at work from Steve, an older gentleman.
Steve!
All right.
My friend Steve. Steve. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Those reels.
All right, so we're going to dive right in. This one says, so this is actually kind of a cool story. I work in a music store where we sell guitars, drums, DJ gear, and all sorts of other stuff. For the last 8 months or so, I've had a regular customer who we'll call Steve. When I first met Steve, he told me that he was fighting cancer and would like a nice guitar to get to play for what might be his final few weeks. I got him a great guitar that he liked, and he brought it back in a week. This process repeated for 6 months. Now, when we get a serial returner like this, normally the person is rude, not caring, etc. But Steve was always super polite, would crack jokes, and so on. Because he's such a good guy, we never minded him bringing back merchandise. 2 months ago, he comes in beaming. I say, Steve, what's new? And I get back something along the lines of, I've done it! I beat cancer! That's awesome! Super cool older guy gets to keep being super cool old guy. Here he drops the bomb. I have a second chance at life. I want to learn this DJ stuff. Alright, Steve. So we set him up with a basic rig and teach him the basics of it. This is where it gets hilarious. He calls us today from Cabo, Mexico. He told my manager that he landed a DJ gig at a resort. He said he specializes in 50s and 60s music, but he's going to hang out with their regular DJs and swap MP3s. My 75-year-old regular is now a DJ in Cabo, Mexico, and I'm on Reddit. So
they lost Steve, their regular customer.
Yeah.
To Cabo.
Some
and DJ.
Comments. Exactly. Some comments. Someone said, some people are just made of pure awesome. And then OOP said, without a doubt. And Steve is one of them. And then another person said, I totally would go to a party if Steve was a DJ there. So that's pretty awesome. And then there was an update. Steve came back in today. He brought my manager a hat from Cabo, and I asked him about the trip. He pulled his phone out and showed me a video that he took from the stage. There was easily 500 plus people in the venue.
Oh, wow.
What a beast. He told me that not only did he DJ, but after a set one night, a cover band came out to jam, and he got to sing Pretty Women with them.
What the heck?
Pretty Woman. Then he drops this bomb. Steve, oh, I got attacked by a barracuda too.
What the heck?
You what? Steve, yeah, check it out. Unbuttons top 2 buttons on his shirt and slides his right shoulder out. Big gash and lots of scabs. Steve, it went for me. Got me a little, and I had to take my knife out and stab it. Now, I know this is pushing it a little, but I'll take it and run with that. That is bad. Blink. That's cool. Steve continues his living life to the fullest after beating cancer. How awesome.
Beat cancer, beat a barracuda.
DJ'd
for 500
DJ'd for 500
people.
plus people at 75. Yeah, he's living up life.
Steve's like, I don't care anymore.
I'm just doing what I want to do. I'm being myself. Yeah. Apparently, according to OOP, before he retired, he used to work with kids and stuff, doing stuff. He made a lot of money doing it a lot and gave a good chunk of it back. So that's kind of cool too. He said he's a genuinely kind guy. So that's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Steve's lived a life.
Steve has lived a life doing what he
We
wants
should
to
all
do.
strive to be like Steve, except for I don't want to fight a barracuda.
Yeah, no thanks.
I
I'm
don't
good
wanna
with
do
not fighting a
that.
barracuda.
I'm good.
But, it's cool that at 75 he was able to pivot to and be like, you know what? I want to learn how to DJ. And it just shows that, like, at any point in life, you can completely learn a new skill and you can completely try something new if it makes you happy and it sounds exciting, Like, sometimes I think that we get to a point where it's like,
Yeah, I feel like
I'm at this age.
yeah.
Do I really want to learn how to play an instrument, like this instrument, if I'm like curious about it? I don't know. It might not come as easy. It's easy to fall into those traps. Like I'm too busy. So it's cool to see people that do take the time and like, you know what? I want to do this, so I'm gonna do it. Very cool. All right, on to another post here from BOR Updates. This one was originally posted to Am I the A, which is Am I in the Wrong, essentially. Am I in the wrong for not wanting my partner to know about my fandom blog? So that's the original post title. Here's what they wrote. So I've always been a nerd / in fandoms ever since I found out what they were. Running fan blogs, making edits, writing fan fiction, participating in group chats about whatever fandom I was in, with other fans and blogs. The interests change. But it's something I've always done. It's where I express myself and I create content, and it's like my happy place. I, 21 female, have been going out with my partner, 22 female, for 3 to 4 years, and she knows I've always got some sort of special interest or show going, but she doesn't know about the blogs or the edits or the fics. It's not her vibe. She's never really been into fandoms or done that kind of stuff before, and she thinks it's kind of nerdy and cringy. Overall, just doesn't like it. She asked to see my camera roll in conversation, not in a controlling way, I promise, and I wasn't comfy with it, so I said no. She asked why, and I said it's got fandom content on there and it's embarrassing. She dropped it, but said it seemed like I was hiding something, which I guess I am, and I totally get why she'd be feeling weird, but that's not really what I'm confused about. I mainly just don't really want her, or anybody I know personally, to know about the side of my life. It's for me, not anybody else. I just don't see how her knowing would benefit anybody. I'd be embarrassed. She'd be confused and cringing. Must we share everything with our partners? Am I in the wrong for not wanting her to know about my fandom blog / edits / fan fictions? So that's the question.
I feel like there's gotta be a way to be able to communicate that without like sharing it all the way. See, you have a right to your own privacy in terms of. I mean, obviously, I feel like when you want to, I don't know, get to the next phase of relationship, you want to share everything about you with them.
Yeah.
And they have to, accept it if they want to keep being with you. They don't have to necessarily love it as what you do, but they have to accept you for it and not shut you down for it.
Right, make you feel embarrassed for it. The consensus was no one's in the wrong here, for the record.
Okay.
That was the original consensus. Comments were kind of all over the place, but most of them were kind of just saying well, why is that you're embarrassed to show her? What specifically are you worried it's gonna happen? Can you really feel close to her if you're embarrassed about those things with her? You want to be feeling confident about your interests and stuff with the person that you're into and stuff like that. So that was kind of the overall what a lot of the comments were saying.
I can't really fully relate because very early on in our relationship, I showed you all the Star Wars scripts I wrote and stuff, and that was pretty much immediately.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard, I guess, when your partner that you're dating early on has talked about oh, it's cringy to read fan fictions, and that's something that you do. I get that part of it too. That that is difficult, to open up and be vulnerable about something that means so much to you, and that is a huge part of your life. When you've heard that the person doesn't like that or is very ew, really? You like that? You know what I mean? That's hard. And maybe that means if that is such an important thing to you, maybe that's not the right person for you. You know what I mean? Depending on the situation. But that's something to reflect on and maybe find that confidence to be not embarrassed by it. You can be oh, they don't like it, but I do, and I'm confident that I like it. You know what I mean? That's a place to come to and try to kind of work towards not feeling ashamed for the things that you like, even if they're not the status quo things that people usually like. Everyone has niche interests that not everyone else likes.
Sure.
All right, so here is an update that was 4 years later. This was actually posted in December of 2025, so very recently. I, then 21 female, now 26, non-binary, feared my partner at the time, then 22 female, now 26 female, judging me for participating in a fandom, and I didn't want her to know. I'd only just left home at the time, and I thought I knew everything. In hindsight, I was young, naive, and unsure of myself. I was also becoming socially isolated due to COVID and being in an increasingly controlling relationship. In time, we only did what she wanted. I was guilted out of seeing friends and family. I was expected to shower her with gifts, and anything she bought me, like a Christmas or birthday gift, was always something she wanted, so she could eventually permanently borrow it. I was too young to understand what was happening, outside of, "This feels bad." I know I didn't communicate and often enabled her. I posted on Reddit because I didn't have anyone else to turn to. I was sure all the replies would be, "You're in the wrong," saying how suspicious it was to hide stuff from her, that I needed to grow up, that what I did was some secret form of cheating I didn't know about. Every single response I got was some form of, "Not in the wrong, but you should examine why you don't want her to know." A good/compatible partner wouldn't shame you for your interests. And I was utterly blown away by the empathy, honesty, and kindness that was shown to me. It hadn't even occurred to me at the time that that was an option. That in this specific situation, neither her or I were in the wrong, just two different people headed in different directions. We broke up somewhat amicably shortly after. She hit me with a, "Maybe we shouldn't be together then," and instead of my normal fawning response, I remained silent and let that concept sink in. I knew in that moment we weren't for each other. We broke up, I found a studio hole in the wall for myself, and I did some serious healing and growing in that moldy but beloved apartment. 4 years on, I am more myself than ever, now happily enjoying a healthy relationship and a beautiful home with someone who feels like my second heart, who gets just as unnormal about their nerdy interests as I do mine. We also share a few and get into each other's interests from time to time. I showed them some of my edits when we first met, and I'll still sometimes tell them about the goings-on in one of my fandom Discord servers, and they show nothing but interest and support. They've taught me so much more about the importance of being unapologetically yourself and not settling for people who don't accept you for who you are or who want to change you. We're truly embodying the sentiment shown to me in those Reddit comments years ago. A good partner is also interested in your life and what you do. You are, hopefully, the most interesting person to them, and they love spending time doing things with you. Thank you to all those people who commented at the time. Your kind words and advice truly did ripple out into the rest of my life and helped me make a few big, scary decisions that has now led me down a path that is better than I could have ever hoped for. Good karma to you all.
Yay.
Yeah.
Happy outcomes.
It's cool seeing when people post years later and there's been that growth, that, like, coming into, like, believing in themselves and, like, not... Because that is such a hard thing when you're young and you're, in relationships and stuff like that, is like feeling confident enough to express your own needs and your own wants and your own interests and not being embarrassed by them. Yeah, just making sure that it's an equal relationship and that it's, a healthy relationship in that sense, I think. So it's cool to see that Reddit in this situation helped them to see that and to really, like, put things in perspective, like, well, it's important that you're happy and that you feel like you have an equal footing in this relationship and, like, that it's balanced, that you both are expressing interest in each other's interests, that you both are supporting each other, not making each other feel embarrassed for things that you like, that kind of stuff. So it's cool to see that, and a good reminder to everybody to make sure that you feel valued and stuff in your relationships, both romantic and platonic, so.
Of course.
Anyways.
Gotta find the right person for you. Now, you don't have to like everything that your partner likes, but you should still, accept them for who they are. And obviously there was more going on in this story than what was initially being asked about.
Exactly. For sure. All right, on to our next one. Again, same subreddit. There's just a lot that fit this topic apparently in this subreddit. But this one was also originally posted in Am I in the Wrong? This is an interesting one. Another one with growth. Am I in the wrong for wanting my daughter to find a different hobby? Here we go.
Probably, if you're trying to change. I guess I don't know what the hobby is. Unless the hobby's like I like to do the finger knifing game. Like, oh god, like that's probably a bad hobby.
Oh, I remember that was like a trend. Oh. All right, my daughter Anne, 17, has been obsessed with building miniatures ever since she saw Hereditary a few months ago. Since
First half that sentence, I was like, "Oh, you're the a-hole." Like let her be your miniatures. Then he said from Hereditary, like, "Oh, that's creepy." And I don't know how I feel now.
since then, she has probably spent close to $500 on miniature sets from Amazon, Hobby Lobby, and Etsy. All of this money comes from her job at a local movie theater, so I can't exactly cut her off. I can't explain why, but something about it drives me up the wall. Maybe it's because Toni Collette was so creepy.
Well,
Maybe
the most creepy example you could think of miniatures being used in that way. I think it's because you saw Hereditary, which is
yeah.
not a pleasant watch.
Maybe I just want to spend some quality time with my daughter instead of watching her waste her life in her bedroom. I hear my sister talk about dropping her daughter off at soccer or how her son is the lead in the school play, and then I think about how my daughter's upstairs building a tiny cottage with tweezers. She hasn't ever really shown interest in any hobbies before, so I thought I'd be grateful that she's finally good at something, but mostly I'm just annoyed. Her grades are fine, B's, her chores are always done, but mostly every second of her spare time is spent putting together miniatures. I tried to ask her if she'd like to go for a walk with me or sign up for cheerleading, but she always says no. My husband thinks it's sweet and has started letting her put them around the house and in his office at work. Every day I drink coffee next to a $60 miniature greenhouse, and I think about when the last time I had a genuine conversation with my daughter was that didn't revolve around the merits of craft glue versus hot glue. I know I'm probably in the wrong, but would I be in the wrong if I asked her to find another hobby that might help her in life, like something she could stick on a resume?
So, going off of what's being described here, I'm going to say yes, you'd be in the wrong. That's not really even the issue. The issue is you want to connect more with her.
Yeah.
And so you have to find ways to connect with her, which is not necessarily making easy because, like, you're saying, hey, well, go for a walk. And she's saying no. I mean, I wouldn't expect her to be, like, do cheerleading and stuff. It's not, you can't make her do things that don't.
That's completely not her interest.
And it sounds like a dad is, like, supportive of this hobby and stuff, and like so what if it's different than what other people do? It's not harming anybody. It's like she's taking, it's creative and involves like fine like motor skills or whatever. Like it's
miniatures are time consuming and patience consuming because it's a lot of work.
It sounds, I mean, I do think it's almost jokingly, but like I'm sure the Hereditary has like a negative association with the miniatures specifically, but Hereditary aside, I don't think it's really about the miniatures.
No, I don't think so either.
Feeling disconnected from her because she doesn't share the same interest and like is finding a hard time
connecting with her daughter.
Yeah, connecting.
She's feeling more isolated from her daughter, which I think also is a very common experience for a lot of moms and when their kids are like in high school and stuff like that, because kids start finding their own. Oh yeah, too. I'm just saying well because it's the mom in this situation, but like I think that happens a lot too, just because like kids become very focused on school or their interests, whatever that might be. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's, I mean, for me, it was theater. Like, they're gone a lot more. They're not, like, involved with the family as much as they used to be. And so that it's like a precursor to when they go off to college and, like, a foresight into what that's going to look like for the mom. And that's kind of hard sometimes, I think. To kind of picture, like, oh, I'm feeling distanced from my daughter, So I get the feeling, but also you don't want to shut down her excitement. If she hasn't had a hobby that she's been this excited about before, you definitely don't want to squash it for sure. And the thing that other Redditors pointed out in the comments too is like, find a hobby that might help her in life. This could. Like, there are definite avenues with like building miniatures and stuff like that, being artistic like that she could get jobs for. I mean, she could work on an art set, like doing like artwork sets or like model sets for like local theater productions. She could work on movie sets, like making stuff. She could just make artwork that she sells even. Like, for example, at a local store in town, there was called Dungeons End that was around for a while. There was a woman that was, a large part of her job was painting custom miniatures for people for Dungeons and Dragons. And she would charge like $40 per pop, and that's what she would do. And like, they were amazing looking, and the amount of intricate little details she had to put on them, it's a skill. So there is definitely things she could do, to help her in life with that too. So I don't think it's fair to say that as well. And also, hobbies are hobbies. They don't have to be something that can make you money.
That's true too.
That's another aspect of this.
I like for those who do game out there, it was a game recently played called Color Obscure Expedition 33, and like early on in the game, there's a line when they're like tossing rocks, and one of the side characters exclaims how bad he is at throwing rocks, and maybe you should find a different hobby. He's like, well, not all hobbies need to be useful. Maybe I'm just doing this. I'm just using it. I'm saving my usefulness for tomorrow.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like I see that quote been going shared around. Like that's a great quote to live by. Not all hobbies need to be useful.
Yeah, it's important to remember that, because hobbies, sometimes we just need things to unwind that you might not be good at, but you just enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gustav, for your wisdom.
There you go. All right, so 5 months later, here's an update. Belated update to a post that was largely considered trolling, but wasn't. I won't lie when I say that I immediately ignored the majority of you telling me I was in the wrong. Or maybe ignore is the wrong word. I think I expected that from the get-go, so being told I peaked in high school and should get along with all the plastic cheerleader wannabe stay-at-home moms rolled off my back. That's rough.
That's kind of mean.
Goodness, people.
You don't have, because she brought up cheerleading, like, you don't know enough information to make those kind of statements, but whatever. It's Reddit.
Sometimes people pile on. Yikes. But there were a few of you that did make me think long and hard about my relationship with my daughter and what sort of model, I was setting for her. There was one comment in particular that's been sort of lost to the flood. If you can find it, I'd surely appreciate that mentioned my writing and how well it read, almost like a book. Maybe it's self-absorbed, but that's really what made me stop for a moment. I've had to sacrifice a lot to get my family where they are today. I won't get into details because I'm sure it would be boring and pretentious and might make you all feel that I'm just trying to garner sympathy after being so rude. But it did involve giving up my dreams in order to make sure there was food on the table. I gave myself some time and space to think and realized the problem stemmed from me, not her. Surprise. I was bitter that everyone else seemed free to chase their passions when I had to work at things I hated for the things we needed. It seemed childish to me to be so selfish as to enjoy your free time when you could be making an effort for your family instead. That's neither here nor there, but it definitely wasn't my daughter's fault that I was so resentful. I like to think that she was relatively unaware of my concerns with her hobbies. I never voiced my opinion one way or another, and I always drove her to Michael's, which is an arts and crafts supply store chain. But I can say with certainty that our relationship has only improved in the last few months. I helped her build a miniature restaurant last Saturday.
Oh, wow.
And I've got a fun little carnival on my nightstand as I type this. I can't regain the time that I've lost, but I can make sure that she doesn't have to live the life that I'm currently living. Thanks for everything.
Okay, so that's why more context is important. I didn't think it was going to be as much about inflection of not being able to enjoy their own free time and, getting upset when others are able to enjoy their free time. We've kind of gone through that because growing up, you were under the mindset of I need to fill all my time with some form of productivity. So even if I'm watching a show, I have to also be doing something versus when I relaxed time is earned for me. When I've done a bunch of work or I've finished projects or X, Y, or Z, or I did a big workout, I'm gonna enjoy my relaxed time,
Yeah.
And early on in a relationship, that was something
we genuinely had to work on, that because first of all, I was very bad at understanding work-life balance and carving out that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was somebody that was if I work, eventually life will get easier. But not today.
It's the millennial lie.
Whoa.
Just kidding.
And so I'm not exaggerating when I say I was working 60 hours a week while taking 18 credits at my college,
Mm-hmm.
including with honors courses and very difficult classes. And
yep.
I would be staying up till 3 a.m. every day and then getting up at 7 every morning to go to work, and I wasn't sleeping enough. And when I'd be home, I was constantly being productive because I couldn't afford to not, or I would slip behind in things. And so at that point, again, we're talking
10 years
10 years ago, which is crazy. When Wyatt I'd come home from work and he'd be sitting on the couch playing a video game and there were dishes that needed to be done, I would lose it. I would be like, what the hey? So now on top of all the stuff I have to do dishes too, and you get to just enjoy playing a video game, and I would be kind of resentful, and that was a problem that I dealt with, and for a long time. And it's not like he didn't contribute around the apartment, he did.
To be clear, I could have done the dishes first before. I still did dishes in general, but I could have done the dishes first.
I mean,
You
yeah,
know,
and
so at
it's
least it
not,
doesn't add to
there
your
was a
stress.
balance that needed to happen
It's
for
not
both
all
of
you.
us.
I mean, I was on the different other end of the spectrum, so we kind of like, you know, have to like
Which we did.
come a little more towards the middle.
It just took a while to figure that out. And
Yeah.
like I think that was something, but I was like very out of balance in that like I didn't feel like I deserved to take time for myself. And that's not a healthy place to be. And because of that, I would be resentful of others that I saw that were, in my opinion, wasting time, like by being relaxing, which is not wasting time. It is important. It's so important to give yourself time to relax, to get yourself back to a place where you're feeling okay again.
Find
if
your
you're
usefulness
stressed.
of find your uselessness of today, so you can be useful tomorrow.
Right, recharge those batteries, because if you don't, you're running on empty. It's really hard to be like upbeat and positive when you're running on empty. And that spills into a lot of areas of your life. So it's really important to be true to yourself. And if you recognize that you need time to relax and recharge, to take that time and carve it out, because no one's going to do that for you. And we've had episodes talking about that before too. And so that was something that I had to come into balance with, is learning that whole thing, and not resenting people that are taking time for themselves to relax, and like instead realizing that was a me issue, not a them issue. That my issue was that I resented myself if I took time to relax and not be productive, and I felt bad about myself. And that's something I had to undo and like work on undoing through years and through the years. So I can definitely understand how the mom felt that way and how she got to that point, and kudos to her, because it sounds like it wasn't even a direct like, this is your issue. It was a roundabout way that she figured out that was the issue, being like, oh yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like at some point she wanted to be a writer.
It's kind of how it sounds.
That's what it kind of sounds like, and that she had to give that up, and she wasn't able to just write like that for fun. That's really hard, and I get that, because sometimes life makes it very challenging for you to have that time to be able to take time for yourself to do the things you enjoy, which really sucks when that happens. There's definitely periods, very much so, where I've experienced that too, like even like in our wedding seasons when it gets really, really, really busy, where I feel like I don't get that time. So I completely can understand that. But recognizing that was her issue and not her daughter's issue, so that she could work on it herself. To be there for her daughter and not squash her dreams of making miniatures, and to instead be like, you know what, I'm gonna try to do better for her and set a better example, so that she doesn't live the life that I did, where like she feels that way, where she has to be monetizing all of her time, you know, and being productive all the time, where it's okay to have a hobby that she just enjoys and makes her happy. And I'm gonna support that instead of make her feel bad for it. That's really, really cool. So yeah, I think it was a very important story, and has some very interesting points to it. So wanted to include it. All right, on to our news article for today. So this one comes from cbsnews.com, and it is titled "Steps of Faith: How Ted Lasso star Jason Sudeikis and friends brought hope and charity to amputees."
Ted Lasso
Ted
is
Lasso.
great.
It's such a good show. So
very wholesome. Definitely an adult show in terms of language and stuff, but very, very wholesome.
It's a good feel-good show.
Highly recommend.
It's got some pretty funny moments too.
Very funny moments, but very ultimately a wholesome, uplifting show.
Yeah. A man by the name of Billy Brimblecom Jr. 20 years ago, a doctor gave him news that he had a mass the size of a large apple in his ankle. It was sarcoma. He ended up going through 13 rounds of chemotherapy, and eventually they had to amputate the limb.
Jeez.
Right above the knee. So that was really hard for him. He was friends with Jason Sudeikis, the guy who plays Ted Lasso, in Apple TV's show Ted Lasso. And one of the quotes from that show from him is, "You know, I think that when you care about someone, you got a little love in your heart, there ain't nothing you can't get through together." You know what I'm saying? So in 2006, when Sudeikis learned insurance would only cover about half of the $60,000 prosthetic leg, he did what friends do. He helped organize a good old-fashioned Kansas City barbecue, and it raised more than enough money to help pay for that prosthetic leg. But that was just the little bit, the least of it. A fundraiser for a friend is now an annual friendly jam session called Thunder Gong, so it's become a tradition. Jason Sudeikis brought along other friends for the ride to come and attend this event, including fellow cast members like Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, Will Forte from SNL, and they just showed up simply because he asked. To date, the Thunder Gong, this event, has helped pay for prosthetic limbs for more than 2,000 amputees all over the country through a nonprofit called Steps of Faith. It aids amputees who lack health insurance or have no prosthesis coverage with their health insurance that they have. And then Brimblecom, his friend who had the prosthesis leg from this, became the CEO of this foundation, Steps of Faith. Sorry. After he tried to cheer up someone else who'd lost their own leg, and he realized something. He says, "I went in and I talked to the guy for 5 minutes. I don't even remember what I said, but I remember how I felt and how he was looking at me. I could just see the excitement and the hope in his eyes, and it was real positive. And I said, gosh, I wish that could be my job." Yeah.
Wow.
And just to put in perspective, it's crazy. According to this, about 500 people lose a limb every day in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
And the price of a prosthesis can be anywhere from a few thousand to more than $100,000.
Jeez.
Yeah,
which
so
I'm
that's
sure
crazy.
insurance often doesn't cover it or doesn't fully cover it.
Yeah, so that's
I'm guessing. I don't actually know.
kind of crazy. So it's cool that this event is helping pay for prosthetic limbs for people through this. Stories like this have not only kept Jason Sudeikis coming back, but countless other actors and musicians have attended as well. Many have become regulars, like Brendan Hunt, who sang a David Bowie song dressed as he did in Ted Lasso as Piggy Stardust.
What the heck?
And every year it gets bigger and bigger. And this last time, Thunder Gong raised, drumroll please, more than $1 million for Steps of Faith. I think that's really cool. And then Jason Sudeikis says, "To do something that you love with people you love, to help people you may never meet, I wish it on everyone." What a wholesome dude. So, yeah, what a cool story and a cool way to end the podcast. With that, we will end today's podcast episode. Tune in a couple weeks for our next episode. And if you have any positive stories that you'd like us to share on here, please send them to us at upliftingpositivestories@gmail.com.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. Please share the show around if you want to, spread the positivity. And yeah.
Thanks so much for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
And stay positive.